Hi everybody, welcome to Tutorial Tuesdays. Today we're going to talk about transposing, playing things in 12 keys. So first, I want to tell you why you need to transpose. Okay, one obvious example is if you're playing with a vocalist and they need the song in another key than is the original. Perfect opportunity to transpose. And the other thing I want to point out is that transposing is the best way to demonstrate that you really understand a song. It's one thing to learn by rote and perhaps visually memorize what the patterns look like on the instrument. It's another thing to understand the relationships between the melody and the harmony and the bass line and how it all connects to the extent that you can create your own melodies on top of that same chord structure or play it in any key without even flinching. It's extremely useful. It's something I've been working on a lot lately, and as I've done it more and more, I realize, wow, this is the key. This is the missing link. This is why you can play 200 songs in your lifetime and then have such a hard time trying to remember something you played 4 years ago because your ear didn't necessarily improve just because you learned more songs. You just did a whole lot of repetition and learned by rote over and over and over again. And this is kind of one of the issues with a lot of music education. It's like we teach students by rote, but in reality, the best situation is when you really understand what you're playing. And when you understand what you're playing, you can transpose it, and it's not an issue. And the cool thing is, even on the reading side of things, on the classical side of things, this is still very useful because a lot of very accomplished classical musicians can also transpose by sight. They can look at it and they can play it in whatever key if the situation calls for it. And in those cases, those types of people usually have either one, perfect pitch, or their relative pitch has been developed in addition to their reading skills and their technique so they can connect all the dots. So I know that was a lot, so we'll put it into practice right now. I want to work on this a little bit for the tune Satin Doll. So for those of you who don't know, Satin Doll goes like this. Bridge. All right, so that's Satin Doll. This is a great tune to transpose because it's a very logical composition. It makes a lot of sense. And so one of the best things you can do when you're working on transposition is throw all your technique out the window and just focus on playing one note at a time. So right hand or left hand. Break it down. We'll start with the bass. So the bass line is like this. Let's pick another key. So I'll do it in the original. We'll pick another key. I'll go up a tritone. So this key is originally in C, but I know that the first chord of the tune is the 2 chord. So if we're gonna do it in F sharp, that means I need to start here. So I'll play the bass line. Okay, so bass lines are pretty straightforward. As pianists, it's so important to just break it down, play one note at a time. We get lost in the sauce as piano players. We're always playing all these notes all the time, but honestly, it can be very distracting from something as simple as the bass line and the melody, and then learning how to do those at the same time. Ultimately, the chords you play are based on the bass line and the melody. So everything you do in between there needs to be informed by an understanding of the bass and the melody, which is why certain pianists are just so extraordinary at complementing vocalists and comping for other musicians. It's because they hear what's actually going on. They hear what's going on and they understand it, and they can react accordingly. So yeah, the melody of this tune, so let's see, starts on the 5th of the 2. So I'm still going to play this in F sharp. So all right, the 2 chord is A flat, the 5th is E flat. So let's go. Try it again. Take a little second. All right, so now the bridge starts on the 11th. Yeah, so cool thing, as I've taken this tune through all 12 keys, what I've realized is just a whole lot of relationships about how this piece actually works. Theory can be a little bit of a nuisance sometimes, but it's actually really helpful. So like as I transpose, 2 things happen. One, my ear just knows what's right. Like as I do it enough, it's just like, okay, before I can figure out what sharp or flat 11th, 9th, 13th, whatever part of the chord it is, before I can figure that out, my ear just kind of knows, oh crap, that was wrong, let me play the right note. It's a very intuitive thing. However, theory can help aid that intuitive process. So they're kind of 2 sides of the same coin, which is just trying to learn music holistically. So as I've taken this through a bunch of keys, I've started to understand how this tune is actually constructed. So like I know that it starts on the 2 chord of whatever key you're in. I know that it's a lot of 2 5s. So if you know the 2-5-1 progression, etc. If you know your 2-5 chord progressions, it's pretty easy to be like, okay, like a lot of this motion is just 2 to 5, 2 to 5, and you get used to hearing that perfect 4th in between the left hand ascending, and then you know that it's just major seconds in the melody. Up a whole step. And then even just on that last part, let's see, what key we're in. So like on this section, I know that it starts on the 11th of the chord. And then I know it starts on the 9th of the chord. So it's like these things I wouldn't understand without transposing it in a bunch of different keys. Let's try another key just for the heck of it. Okay, E major. Let's do it. So if I'm going to play the melody at the same time. you get the idea. It doesn't matter what key. Like it feels really freeing. I can just play this in any key. How fast I can play it, that's a whole nother consideration and a different kind of practicing. But for the most part, this is a tune that I understand. Like it makes sense to me. Like I understand how it works. And I'm inclined to believe that my long-term memory will contain this particular piece of music because I've understood it holistically. I haven't learned it at a 1/12 level, which is essentially learning it in one key. No, I've learned it 12 out of 12 as far as just playing the melody and playing the bass and playing the chords. And then, of course, if you're playing jazz, you got to get used to the rootless voicings as well. So your left hand has to learn how to play this chord progression in any key as well. And the thing is, if you do this with enough tunes, it's easier to remember tunes because you understand how tunes work. Like even if you don't know the theory off the bat, you'll know what it's supposed to sound like, which is a really nice feeling that I imagine people with perfect pitch have most of the time. But I don't have perfect pitch. Most people don't have perfect pitch. So for people like us, we have to just do the hard work of playing things in all 12 keys. And I mean, people with perfect pitch do that too. But I don't know. I have my assumptions about what it's like for them in this process. But it's really useful. And then even just from a technique standpoint, you don't want your hands to, you don't want to be that pianist who's like, oh yeah, if it's in the key of F, oh man, I'm good. Or if it's in the key of B flat, I'm ready to go. It's like, no, you need to be able to play in all 12 keys. It's just an absolute fundamental thing. And it's very, very humbling and very, very exposing as far as what your ear and your relative pitch as it's synced up to the piano can really do. Like, what can it really understand? So just to summarize all that, just like the jazz piano book by Mark Levine says, learn everything in every key. It's such great advice. It's probably the single best way to develop your relative pitch. If you've ever found yourself wondering why gospel musicians a lot of times can just play anything. Somebody starts singing, they're ready to go. Somebody starts shouting, they're ready to go. And then in other contexts, it's just like, oh, someone plays or someone goes up a half step or modulates or whatever else, and they're ready to go. One of the reasons for that is because they either A, have perfect pitch and just know what the note is, or B, their relative pitch is so good that it's indistinguishable from their perfect pitch. And it's like, note, I can play it right there. Chord progression, I can play it right there. It doesn't matter what key. And so this is kind of an introduction to how to really learn music as opposed to just learning songs. Anybody can play a song, but not anybody can play a song in any key at any time, just like ready to go. And so this is an extremely useful practice. I'll be honest, I put this kind of practicing off for a very long time. I tried to get away with not learning things in a bunch of different keys. But as I've struggled over the years, I realized, no, I have to do it. Like any song I think I know, no matter how simple, Happy Birthday, or Isn't She Lovely, or My Favorite Things, or any song, no matter how simple it is or complex, I should learn it in a bunch of different keys. So my ear can improve, so my relative pitch can improve, and so that I'm not just struggling to memorize large volumes of music that I just don't understand. It's such a hard process to keep trying to learn song after song after song without understanding song after song after song. Being able to play is just one step. Being able to play it is one step in the process. Understanding music is something entirely different. And that's what happens when people improvise very well. They understand what they're playing. They understand what they hear and how the chords are set up, and they understand how those chords relate to all the other chords in any other song that they've ever played. Like they understand those relationships, and then of course there's the rhythmic aspect of it too. But today we're just talking about notes. So this is 12 keying, why you should do it, why it matters. It's kind of a long version. If you want a short version, watch Peter Martin's 2-Minute Jazz. He talks about 12 keying tunes. And one thing he actually mentions is, do this early in the process, like before you get comfortable in a key, before you memorize the tune. Like, see if you can transpose it early on so that you can, you don't get comfortable in any key in particular, and you understand the music so well that you can just play it. And then lastly, if you really want to take it to the next level, even if you're like a classical musician or something like that, I think this can still be very, very useful. Take some of these piano adventures, Faber books, and transpose them. Just be like, all right, I'm going to play this in the original key. All right, now let me try it in B or E or G flat or whatever key. It really shouldn't matter. So this is 12 key demystified. Thank you so much for watching. This is Tutorial Tuesdays, and thank you so much for your support. Please tell me what songs you'd like me to talk about next time and different concepts you'd like me to explain. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much. Have a good one.